let's talk about lean maxing and preserving muscle while doing so, because if we don't preserve muscle, we're just going to look like shit by the end of it anyway. First of all, I'm going to dispel a whole bunch of copes around this, and it's probably going to be controversial, but let's look at cope methodology that just doesn't work. And I'm not saying the methods themselves don't work, I'm saying that they just don't work for majority of people. On the list, we have cardio, dieting, supplements, gym, and even discipline. These are complete and utter cope. Although they inherently are effective, like cardio, depending on your weight, gender, your height, and so on, you can burn about 1,000 plus calories a day if you really put in that effort, right? We know cardio works. We know that dieting works. We know that supplements don't work. Like, in my opinion, they don't work whatsoever. I haven't seen any convincing literature to support the claims that these supplements work. And I'm talking about supplements that you can order from Amazon or from your local supplement store. Going to the gym, it's going to allow you to burn more calories, and that's about it when it comes to weight loss, but it's good for preserving muscle. Now, although these methods here inherently work, it's going to allow you to burn more calories. They all rely on discipline. Without discipline, without adherence to a regimen or a protocol around losing weight, you're not going to lose weight without discipline. Discipline is what makes you decide if you're going to do the cardio, if you're going to lower your calorie intake for the day, if you're going to go to the gym, the consistency, it all hinges on discipline. Majority of people just don't have discipline whatsoever when it comes to cardio, dieting, and going to the gym. So if everything hinges on discipline, you're obviously going to fail. So the methods that I'll be presenting don't rely on discipline whatsoever. But if we look at the studies around discipline, like this meta-analysis, I'm pretty sure goes over about 50 different studies. And it's about long-term weight loss, maintenance, a meta-analysis of US studies. And if we go all the way to their conclusion, and the meta-analysis basically shows that the average person loses about 3.2% of the weight. And that's after 4 to 5 years. And so 3% of your weight, if you're 100 kilograms, that's 3 kgs, right? That's fucking nothing. What is that, like 7 pounds? So 7 pounds after 4 or 5 years after the structured weight loss program. We can bring up tons of studies, but what majority show us is that about 95% of the people that lose weight gain majority of the weight loss back anyway. Even people who are very obese and lost over 20 kilograms from that program, they only maintained about 6% of the total weight loss. And we can look at the biggest loser studies as well. Majority gained back all of the weight plus more. So there's no way people are genuinely suggesting you do cardio, you diet, and go to the gym when we know 90+% of the people aren't going to stick to that. So these methods don't work, although individually they inherently work. But since they all hinge on discipline, it's kind of predetermined that they're going to fail. They're going to not do cardio. They're not going to diet. They're not going to the fucking gym either. This shit just doesn't work for majority of people. So in saying that, what would I present as a method that actually does work for majority of people? Well, everything, instead of hinging on discipline, right? We're going to hinge on appetite suppression, because if you're not hungry, you're not going to eat. If I give you so much fucking food to the point that you're going to vomit, majority of people aren't going to keep eating. And in this day and age, we see the popularization of Ozempic, tirzepatide, or Mounjaro. We see retatrutide and so on. And so a part of my suggestion, well, not really a suggestion, just something that I would present as a method for people to effectively lose weight, is retatrutide. So that's the first thing I'm going to cover. And if we go and take a look at the studies, this is the phase 2 trial for triple hormone receptor agonist retatrutide for obesity. And we just take a look at the results that they got, which, first of all, keep in mind this is a higher dosage. So if you were to use it, you'd likely start a lot lower than this to start. But we can see with the 12 milligram dose of retatrutide, 90% of participants lost 10% or more of their baseline weight. Nearly 2/3 lost 20% or more. Nearly half lost 25% or more, and a quarter lost 30% or more. So it's already shitting on just naturally doing it. And you can see here with a lower dose, with the 8 milligram dose, initial dose 4 milligrams, and the 12 milligram dose of retatrutide, the mean weight reduction among participants with a BMI 35 or higher was 26.5% and 26.4%, respectively, as compared with 21.3 and 21.5 amongst participants with a BMI less than 35. We also have the phase 3 successful trial that went over 68 weeks, and the average person lost about 28.7% of their body weight. And if we look here, we can see that the average person weighed about 112 kilograms, so 250 pounds. And you can see the placebo versus 12 milligrams and 9 milligrams. And at 9 milligrams, they lost about 29 kilograms, so 64 pounds. 12 milligrams, 32 kg, 71 pounds. And this isn't solely beneficial for weight loss as well, because it's just a byproduct of being overweight, or even just what retatrutide itself does. In its secondary endpoints, retatrutide reduced known markers of cardiovascular risk, including non-HDL cholesterol, triglycerides, and high sensitivity C-reactive protein, and at the highest dose, lowered systolic blood pressure by 14 milliliters of mercury. Yeah, retatrutide can help in a lot of ways, not just suppressing your appetite, but also increases your daily expenditure while doing nothing, so you burn more calories just sitting at home. It has better targeting for which type of fat that it targets as well, and same with the amount of muscle you lose compared to the fat, because a lot of problems with crash dieting and just lower calories in general, and typically the bigger the calorie deficit you're in, the more muscle loss will scale with it as well. But with retatrutide, that just doesn't seem to be the case at all. It actually aids in preserving that muscle, and especially if you work out on top of that. And you can see the difference between the natural diet and natural plus lifting versus using retatrutide. And you can see the muscle loss is about the same, but if you're on retatrutide, the fat loss is about double. That's everything about Reta, and it is the main way I would present to you for losing weight, because it's the most effective way to actually lose weight and keep the weight off, plus preserving muscle. But I'll move on to the other things as well. Next, we have nicotine, specifically the gum, and I'll pull up studies on this. Here we have a review of recommendations for people with diabetes and obesity. And you can basically read here, nicotine withdrawal increases calorie intake in the range of 250 to 300 calories a day. And a big part of that is because it basically resets your appetite, because when you're on nicotine or using nicotine, I'm pretty sure it says here, the reduced food intake by 30%. So think about if you eat 2,000 calories worth of food a day, minus 30% of that, you're minusing 600 calories. So in saying that, nicotine can help a lot. And I'll go over the side effects of everything here as well, but I'll just make my way through the list. So we can go on to stimulants. So that's anything like any type of stimulant, including like energy drinks too. But modafinil, Adderall, Vyvanse, energy drinks, and so on. Like if you've ever used any type of amphetamine in particular, you'll know that it completely destroys your appetite. Lastly, flavored water. I drink this shit so much. 0-calorie flavored water. I hate the fucking taste of water, so I'm not going to recommend just drinking water. So I'd recommend just flavored water, 0-calorie, and just drink that constantly. It's the same as Coke no sugar. You can just fucking spam these all day and have no side effects whatsoever. It's literally just flavored water and Coke no sugar. You're not going to get cancer from Coke no sugar or Diet Coke. It's disproven as well. But these are goated for just feeling full throughout the day. Lastly, I'll go over the side effects of each of these, except for, the flavored water and shit. But if you want to pause the video and look through these, you can. It's basically just saying you can become nauseous, vomit, diarrhea, heart rate increase, insomnia, anxiety, dry mouth, headache, muscle loss, risk, skin tingling. And you can look at the percentages here and correlate them to the compound or method. Yeah, majority of these are pretty safe. Like you can see the percentages for retatrutide, and in comparison to how serious the side effect is, 40 to 60% of people are nauseous on it. But that's usually for the first few weeks, and then it dissipates as time goes on. Yeah, that's the end of the video. If you want to access sources for these research-only compounds, or read the education section, or just talk about it as well, just click the link in the description for the Discord. It's free, or I'll just pin a comment as well, and you can click on that. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Leave a comment, subscribe, whatever, and I'll see you guys in the next video.